Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Parthasarathi Mukherjee, the Managing Director and CEO of Lakshmi Vilas Bank, joins us now. Good morning, Mr. Mukherjee. Thank you very much. Can you just take us through this Religare Enterprises suing you and you having to seize their FDs because the loans to their promoters, Malvinder Singh, was not repaid. Can you just take us through the problem, and did SEBI really write to you?
Lata, I'm unable to comment on this at all.
Okay.
And in any case, we've stepped into our silent period, so I am unable to discuss anything concerning the bank at this moment.
Okay. But this is only a regulatory issue. Even that you cannot clarify whether there was anything that SEBI asked you to file to the Bombay Stock Exchange. Have you since filed it?
You would have found a response that we had given to the stock exchanges, which were quite self-explanatory. I'm sure you would have got enough answers there, of course.
Okay. Mr. Mukherjee, good morning. I wanted your thoughts also on the latest news flow on the government setting up this AMC for selling the bad assets. Do you think that this measure would sort of yield any kind of interest at all from, from foreign investors, from PE investors, etc.? And what are your thoughts on how this could progress?
I think it will get interest. It will see a lot of interest. We've been seeing a lot of bilateral interest coming to us from investors abroad on buying stressed assets. So I imagine this may not be a bad idea after all.
Okay. But do you think they will be able to put together, will funds be interested in buying stressed assets through an AMC, or do you think bilateral sale to stressed asset funds would be easier?
The stressed assets fund concept, of course, needs a lot of clarification, so I'm unable to say whether a direct trade can happen. But thus far, a number of trades have happened through the ARC route.
Okay, you said that a lot of bilateral interest has been coming to you from investors. Are these mostly to do with, I mean, a lot of foreign investors or domestic investors? I mean, what are the nature of the investments that we are looking at?
It's a mix. We've seen interest from both domestic and foreign investors on this.
Okay. Can you take us through your fundraising plans as well? You're planning to raise 1,500 crores, right?
Lata, as I mentioned, now that we've got into the silent period, I am told that I am not in a position to speak on fundraising for the rest till my first quarter results come out.
Okay, you can't speak about the numbers, but at least you can tell us in general about the trend that you're seeing as far as the industry is concerned. How is rural credit looking, consumer credit? Have you seen a pickup compared to what we saw over the last 2 quarters?
Yes, I do see some pickup actually. There is some interest overall. SME, yes, there is demand. At the same time, one must be careful. I think there is a relatively heightened level of stress in the SME books too.
Oh.
But certainly there is demand.
Okay, relatively higher level of stress. So now, would you say that therefore we should be prepared for higher NPAs from the banking system? I mean, until now we saw only the large assets being recognized. Do you think the sector will now be forced to recognize SME loans because you have the new February 12th dispensation as well?
The recognition of stress in the SME book is an ongoing process. I imagine a lot of that has been recognized already and on a regular basis as and when they develop. Obviously, the concept of, shall we say, evergreening is a lot less today. So a lot of that is being recognized as it emerges. So my sense is a lot of the stress has been seen, has already been recognized, the incremental stress will be recognized as and when the market sees it.
No, what I'm asking you, Mr. Parthasarathi, is that the February 12th circular said that starting March 1st, only even for one-day default, the banks have to get together and start to put in a bit of a resolution plan or speak to the management. Now, therefore, this is the first quarter we have where you have the full effect of this one-day default and the process that the banks have to put in thereafter. Therefore, do you think that in this quarter, the banking sector will be faced with more NPAs? I mean, you can discipline some people into returning the loan on day one, but a large number will be used to T+89 to return the loan.
I'll put it to you this way. It does not automatically mean that you will see more NPAs in the system. Clearly, there will be a lot more of activity among the banks. The engagement with borrowers is a lot more intensified today. I don't think it automatically translates into recognition of NPAs.
Okay, but the view was that the SME sector has sort of staged a bit of a recovery after, the dual impact of GST and demonetization. You're not seeing any major recovery. I mean, at least that's the feedback that we got from the industry.
No, I agree. The SME sector has actually recovered from the GST shock and it has adapted itself remarkably well, actually, if you ask me. Much better than what we had thought would happen. However, I'm maintaining that in general, the stress in the sector is a bit higher. And it need not necessarily be linked to GST.
Let me come back to where we began, the AMC and the ARC issue. You said that your bilateral conversations on asset sale have been fairly good. Will you be able to reduce your stress significantly through sale to ARCs? Because Q4 saw a sudden jump in your GNPA.
The efforts are on, and clearly we will be endeavoring to reduce the gross and net NPLs through a variety of means, including sales to ARCs. I'm sure the ARC route could look quite attractive going forward.
What is your sense about this Sunil Mehta endorsed AMC plan? When do you think it could be up and running? Anyone, maybe a sector fund, a power fund or whatever, do you think the first asset sale could happen in the next quarter, say in the July, August, September quarter?
I wouldn't bet on Q2, but with luck Q3.
Finally, you had announced to the exchange that you're raising money. That means your outlook on loan growth should be reasonably positive. Can you give us some direction as to how loan growth might pan out this year?
I'm hopeful of seeing very reasonable loan growth. You'll appreciate that we've been careful in the past about growing the book, partly because of the situation with our capital. I'll put it to you this way, that loan growth should not be, shall we say, very poor.
No, last year I think
around the system growth.
Last year your advances growth was 8.6%. You would be confident of doubling that, or at least very close to, I mean, say a 15% should not be difficult this year? It's a low base after all.
I would hesitate to put a number, but I would certainly endeavor to do a lot better.
And what about, sorry.
No, I just wanted to come back to that point about ARCs. What is the quantum of NPLs that you would be looking to sell through the ARC route?
Sonia, I wouldn't really put a number. It's going to be a case by case. Every asset would be looked at by the ARCs, and we're talking to multiple ARCs. And depending on the success in the negotiations, we'll work it out. We haven't really fixed a target. The intention is to clean up to the extent possible.
Generally, is the banking sector better off in terms of margins? Given the movement in the market, you should be able to price your loans higher, isn't it?
My feeling is in the short term, margins should be under some degree of pressure.
Okay.
Partly because of the accelerated recognition of NPLs.
Okay.
But going forward, I would be of the view that things will look up quite a bit.
Now, what is this forward, sir? Is it Q3 or is it Q4? Or is it FY20?
It cannot be a system point. I think it will depend on bank to bank. Many banks, in my opinion, have cleaned up substantially. They should see improvement possibly quicker. There are many who will probably take on the entire financial year to clean up.
Okay.
So it would be difficult for me to generalize.
But for yourself?
I would say that as you move quarter to quarter, you will clearly see an improvement overall for the system.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Mukherjee, we've run out of time. Thanks for joining us and giving us an update. That's Lakshmi Vilas Bank